welcome. Dr. Diana Chapkin here at SCRC Fertility. Thank you for joining me during the lunch hour. Today we're going to speak about male factor infertility and how to improve sperm health. So often couples come to me with a diagnosis of infertility after they've been trying for a while. Many times the women think it's all on them, but the reality of it is that 30% of infertility cases are due to male factor infertility. And so it's obviously a key part of the diagnosis and evaluation process. The primary way to assess male fertility is through the semen analysis. So in the semen analysis, we'll look at certain parameters in the sperm. We'll look at the count, the motility, the volume, the morphology, which is the shape of the sperm. It's normal for essentially men to have around 20 million sperm in a count, the concentration around 20 million, and that's a very, very high number. But the interesting thing about it is that it's actually also very normal for a huge percentage of that sperm to be morphologically abnormal, meaning not shaped normally and not have the correct architecture or the correct metabolic functions to be able to fertilize the egg. And so we look at all of those things to kind of get a good assessment as to not only what is the count of the sperm, but what is the function and the health of the sperm. And the semen analysis really can tell us quite a bit in that regard. Now, people will often say, well, how do we improve sperm health? So I will tell you that if there is a severe malfunction of count, motility, morphology, if there really are severe factors and severely low parameters on the sperm, well then oftentimes we will bring in the expertise of a urologist, specifically a fertility-focused urologist, who focuses on male potential structural abnormalities or hormonal abnormalities that potentially could be altered or fixed. There are also certain situations where a man may have very, very low sperm count, so much so that it might be irreparable. However, even in very, very low sperm counts, we can still do things like in vitro fertilization and ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm insemination. And that's where we'll have, even if it's a very, very low sperm count, for all of the eggs that we get in a potential IVF cycle, we can fertilize each egg with the sperm in the lab to induce fertilization and to make the most of potentially a very, very low or abnormal sperm count. So there are ways to really overcome very, very low parameters in a semen analysis. Now, just in general, though, ways to kind of improve sperm health and male health leading up to the process. So things we can do are things like paying attention to environmental exposure. So I will often take a good history, obviously, and kind of ask, is there some sort of exposure? Is there a lifestyle exposure or a work exposure that might be affecting somebody's sperm health? We also know that excessive heat, so in the form of excessive hot tubs or exposures like that, we say to try to stay away from those sorts of things because the excess heat could affect sperm production and sperm health. Underwear that is too tight for prolonged periods of time can also affect sperm health. We say, better not to put a laptop right on the lap, as that could potentially affect sperm health. And so those are sort of things we want to think about. We also know that antioxidants can help sperm health. So things that are rich in antioxidants, so foods that are rich in antioxidants like spinach or berries, multicolored berries, in the way that those things are healthy, are important for a healthy heart, that's also important for a healthy sperm production and healthy sperm. There are certain vitamins we could offer, things like CoQ10 and selenium and things like that, to improve sperm health and lower the oxidative stress in a sperm sample, and that could improve health as well. But I'm a huge proponent myself about diet, and I think that I think consulting with a nutritionist and trying to have the best diet can really improve sperm health. And so I think with that, I'll kind of take a pause and see if there are any questions. It looks like somebody mentioned that they did IVF 8 years ago, and the semen analysis was fine. They got pregnant on their own and had a miscarriage. So, I mean, yeah, I would say that if it's been a significant amount of time since the last evaluation and since the semen analysis, then it really is a good idea to get a check again on the sperm, especially if it's been more than a year. I mean, we know that new sperm is produced every 3 months. And so, a semen analysis, honestly, that's over 3, 6, 9 months ago is really old news. And we do know that there are certain exposures. So sometimes a guy could have a cold, a really severe cold, that can affect the semen analysis in a way that doesn't actually get seen until 3 months later. So definitely I would encourage getting a semen analysis again if there's still a diagnosis of infertility, even if semen analysis in the past had been fine. What else can I answer here? More than happy to answer questions here, but I'm also very happy to answer questions in the office, either on a remote consultation or in person. I think you could find the information on the link to set that up, but more than happy to speak with you. I really appreciate for all of you who checked in today and made the time, and thank you.